We've taken a week off to regroup, but here's what's been going on since we saw you last.
So today, we had our first kind of bigger harvest yesterday. Not a big harvest, but enough that we could actually cook with. And as you know, we also did some ramen yesterday. Today, I'm going to make a meal that is completely harvested on our farm. So we're going to do fried chicken from the chicken that we processed a couple of days ago, and some green beans that I'm going to do in the Instant Pot, and then we're going to do a fried zucchini and onion with a little bunch of chili in there that fell off the vine yesterday. All this is going to be done in my large iron skillet, so I'm going to start with the vegetables first. We'll get those cooked and then out of the skillet, and then I'll be able to do the chicken. So now, my family likes zucchini with the skin on it, so I'm going to leave the zucchini as is, but the yellow squash, the skin is just not, super good on it. So, so we're going to go ahead and just take the rind off of this, and then I'll chop it up, and we'll just start the skillet with some seasoning. I have some fresh oregano that I just picked yesterday. We'll use that, and some olive oil, and probably some rosemary that I have that I saved from last year, actually, that's dried in the cabinet. So did not plant rosemary this year. I'm not sure why. I guess we just forgot about it, but it's probably not too late to get some in there. I also have a handful of sugar snap peas that my pea plants have just been hurting this year, so I have a handful of sugar snap peas that I'll just throw into this little succotash type thing. So I'll get all this chopped up, and then we'll throw it in the pan, and we'll see how it goes. All right, so get my spatula out. What we have in here is right now just the onions and the squash and the hot peppers, which I kind of left large so that if people wanted to pick them out, they could. So we're just going to drizzle this with some extra virgin olive oil, and we're going to add a little salt and pepper. A little more pepper than salt. That's how I like it. And then I'm going to actually cut some of the oregano down that we've hung to dry. And I'm just going to kind of, it's a little dry right now, so you can just kind of macerate it a little bit and get it in there. Just give it a little herb flavor. Okay, so that should actually be good to go just the way it is. So we're going to let that stir fry a little bit. And in the meantime, we left this jelly out today. In the meantime, I'm going to take the green beans that we have, and I'm going to put them in the Instant Pot. They've already been cleaned and prepared. I did that yesterday. So I just need to throw them in. And we're going to cook that with some of our canned chicken broth. That we've made over the last couple of weeks. So, I'm going to chopstick trick to open this. And the chicken broth is already seasoned, although it doesn't have a lot of salt in it, so I'll probably throw a little bit more salt into the Instant Pot with the beans. Now sometimes I'll add a little bit of pork to this as well, but it's not really feeling it today, so pop that on there and put it in on manual for about 5 minutes. And that is going to take care of itself. And then once we're done cooking these vegetables, then I will start heating up the oil and getting things ready for the chicken. But before I do that, I have to actually butcher the chicken. Okay, so now we're prepping the chicken. I have actually had this chicken in a sous vide. You can see over here. It's been cooking at 150 degrees for about 4.5 hours. And I do that when I'm frying chicken because that way you can cook the chicken just where it's golden brown, but you don't have to overcook it and make it, dark and not look very good. So the chicken's already kind of pre-cooked when you put it in the oil, and all you have to do is really fry the outside of it. And because this chicken is already cooked, it should come off the bone pretty easily, or come apart anyways pretty easily. So we've got one thigh here, which I will separate. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just cutting it into pieces. This is a chicken actually that Phil just butchered, so it's really super fresh. Honestly, if I have to be honest, Phil's better at this than I am. But he's not here, so I'm doing it. So there's the second piece that's come off. You still got the little tail here. We're not going to mess with that. And there's some meat left on here from where I didn't cut it really super well, but that's okay because what we'll do when we're done with this is we'll take this chicken and put it in the Instant Pot and make a broth out of it that we can then use to make green beans later. So there's one of the wings. This thing is huge, by the way. For a homegrown chicken, it's almost the size of a turkey. It's kind of a joke around here that I'm not allowed to use knives because I always cut myself. You guys can watch me wielding this knife and probably understand why that is. Okay, so that's the wings and the thighs and the legs. So now we're going to do the breast. I'm just trying to cut right through the middle here. And actually, even 4.5 hours in the sous vide, this isn't completely cooked, which is fine because we're going to cook it in the oil too. Phil did a really good job with this particular chicken because it's the skin is nice. Sometimes when you process these chickens, if that water gets too hot, it messes up the skin, and then you can't leave the skin on. You have to cook its skin off. But I'm making fried chicken for my father though, and my father does not like the skin on the chicken, so I'm taking it off anyways. That will make him happy. He also only eats chicken breast, so I don't have to worry too much about the skin being on the other cuts. Look at that huge breast though. Isn't that gorgeous? I'm going to kind of take the middle of it out, kind of make it a little bit of chicken tenders there because that breast is just going to be too big to cook. Alright, now we're going to get the other one off of here. And so we just cut it down the middle, like I said. I wish that I was a little better at this, but hey guys, that's why I'm a family doctor and not a surgeon. Believe me, you do not want me to cut on you. My nose was itching, but you notice I did not touch it because you should not touch your nose during COVID or while you're cooking. Alright, so now there's a little bit of bruising on here. That's nothing to be concerned about. That's actually just from when the chicken went through the defeatherer. It bruised a little bit. So we're going to have a few like chicken tenders here. Where I missed a gaping portion of the breast when I was cutting it. Oh well. C'est la vie. Okay. So now that's all chopped up, I'm gonna get my dips made. Charlie. And then I'll be back. Okay, so we're ready. Well, not quite, but I wanted to show you something in between. So here we have all of our chicken that we're gonna cook in the frying pan. So we've got obviously 2 legs, 2 breasts, 2 thighs, 2 wings. And then I made these little strips out of some of the breast as well, because this just had a lot of breast on it. Now the other thing I did was, in this pot here, I didn't mean to do that. In this pot here, I have the chicken carcass, what's left of it. And then I also took some of the remainder of the stalk of this onion that we got from the garden, and then some celery and carrots that I had in the fridge to make a mirepoix. Put a little bit of salt and pepper in here, and now we're going to put that in the Instant Pot on the soup setting. I do have 2 Instant Pots actually. So we're going to put that on the soup setting, and then it will reduce that to a broth, and then we just strain the broth when it's done and put it into our jars, and we have chicken broth. So always do that with your carcasses, particularly if you've got farm fresh chicken, because it makes the absolute best tasting chicken stock. So next, I'm going to get the zucchini out of the cast iron skillet so that I can start heating up the oil for the chicken. So here's our zucchini. Does not look great. It smells fantastic. It's so aromatic with the fresh chili in it and the fresh herbs. It just smells tremendous. It's almost like a lemony smell, I think, coming from the chilies actually. That one flopped out. So I'm gonna rinse this pan out and then get the oil started and my dipping section started. All right, so I have everything ready. You can probably hear my oil in the background. Take a little bit of flour and drop it in oil. Not quite ready yet, but it's getting there. So what I have here is some Everglades heat seasoning. You guys have seen me use this before. I will use it again. I'm just gonna kind of pre-season everything a little bit. Everglades heat's really nice because it's just a tiny bit spicy. It's got super flavor. It's just a great seasoning. We found it when we were in Florida. Go figure. Here I have buttermilk mixed with some farm fresh eggs. I can use regular milk too. I just happen to have buttermilk in the fridge today, so that's what I use. We don't generally buy a lot of milk here, so we just have buttermilk. And then I also have this Kentucky Kernel seasoned flour. I got this at Kroger. I really like it. It's just got some seasonings in it. And it doesn't have any sugar and it doesn't have any MSG in it, which is kind of nice. So the process here, I flip everything over. I want to season both sides. Except for the tenders, they don't really, doesn't really matter if you season both sides on those. Shake a nice little sprinkle on everything. Okay, so the way that we do this is you start in the flour or breading or whatever you have, and then you dip it into your buttermilk or milk or whatever with your egg, and then back into the flour it goes. This is a pretty messy process, so expect to get dirty and be messy, and that's okay. And I happen to always kind of keep a towel on my side when I do this. Once it's ready to go, there we go. Then we'll do a few pieces at a time through that process. And then once those pieces are done, or ready to go, I'll just drop them all at the same time into the cast iron skillet. Cast iron skillet, you just fill with like plain old vegetable oil. I don't personally like canola oil. That's another story. But canola oil is not derived from any kind of plant. It's a man-made oil. It was initially developed to be an industrial lubricant, and so I would just prefer that whatever oils I'm using come from a plant. So I usually do corn. That's my normal go-to Peanut oil is pretty good for fried chicken too. Peanut oil is pretty heavy and it's not the best thing for you, but then fried chicken's not either, so it doesn't really matter, does it? Okay, so I gotta get my fingers cleaned up here for the next one, and I'm just gonna keep repeating this process until it's done. So be back after it's done. So here's the chicken frying in my gorgeous cast iron skillet, which I love. And I'll be back in a moment. So this is the finished product with everything, including Lee's homemade bread. I do wash my hands more than I show in the video. I always wash my hands before touching food. And I know that the dogs are in the video as well, and they come and go from the kitchen. And that's just part of living on the farm with the dogs. So please don't be a hater, just love what we're doing.
Hey, Bob the Rooster.
Hey, Bob. Bob the rooster. Are you over here because you like your name?
Back the ground if you say yes. It's just that simple.
Yeah. Bob the rooster likes his name. And Brisket understands the fence.
I'm not sure he does. Brisket, you don't want to near that fence.
Earlier tonight, Charlie decided that he thought the fence would be really fun to sniff. And so Charlie is right now up on the porch. There's Charlie. He will not come back down and sit with us because he had to run in with the fence. So there we go. So that's Bob. We decided to name him Bob the Rooster. And Lee named this rooster
Big Chicken.
Big Chicken. Big Chicken the rooster and Bob the rooster. And those are our only roosters, which is good.
Well, other than the chips.
Hey, Bob. Bob. He's a pretty rooster.
As you can see, we filled up the wallet big and deep for the piglets. Hey, piglets. Oh, now they're not going to play. All right, intrepid YouTubers, this is the inside of the F-250 that we got for a farm truck recently. As you can see, all kinds of stuff seems to be going on here. This dash is actually easy to pop off. Just stuck a screwdriver under here, popped it, and you can see it's just held on by the little pop fixtures. What we're really working on here is this radio area. I've rewired this from one of these little cheap Android radios because it had just a old school AM/FM CD player in it. And today what I'm going to do is try to figure out the trigger wire. I've seen a couple of different videos on which wire to wire into. They say up underneath here in the fuse box there is a black wire with pink stripes. That may be it. Over there in the kick panel there is a green wire with a brown stripe. So I'm going to voltmeter test both of those today, and I'll let you know which one worked and which one we're going to tap into for the reverse camera. All right, we got her all wired up here, and we've tapped into the black and pink line down here. So take this off. Oh yeah, that looks good. Drop it on the floor. I should have switched to the reverse camera and it didn't, so we'll have to keep troubleshooting here. I think. We'll see. Got it working. Unfortunately, I can't have you listen to music right now. Oh, I guess I could do the radio.
Friday, you know I'll be kicking.
And this is Lee working on a new ramp for the chicken house.
Yep.
See, got some steps in there, a nice piece of wood, and this is some non-slip stuff for the cheeky poos because they're little.
Yeah, we got a bunch of new little chickens.
Okay.
20 new, what are they called?
Breasts.
Breast chickens.
All right, so
One of them's at least one of them is too big to keep in the little brooder we have him in because it's with the 6 tiny chicks that we had.
there are varying sizes.
Thank you for sticking with us through our vacation. I'm sure we're going to have a lot to do when we get home. If you like this, please press like and subscribe. We'd love to see you back for further episodes of The Idiot Farmer. And if you have any suggestions of what you'd like to see, let us know. Thank you.